Remember Harry Potter? No? You know, the Bible-sized book series about exploring a magical castle and friendship and, it's got an excellent fan base and it was written by Jake, no, oh, that's embarrassing. Okay, hold on, let me just scribble out this signature here. Okay, anyway, this is a safe space. I'm gonna, review the video games, not the books. And, this is gonna be fun.
I can already hear you guys. You're one of those adventure game RPG platformer guys, right? Why the hell are you reviewing the old Harry Potter games? Here's the thing. The first 3 actually are adventure games. Growing up, I was obsessed with Harry Potter. One year it was my Halloween costume. I definitely went through an obsessive phase as a kid. Here's the thing. The books paint a picture of a massive, magical castle with an endless amount of mysterious hallways and rooms. I loved Zelda as a kid, so I thought an adventure set in Hogwarts was like a dream to me. One weird thing, actually, is that these games span pretty much every popular console and handheld at the time, and instead of making the same game but better or worse quality-wise, they made fully separate games. So how do we even pick? Well, I took to the internet to find out, and they said for Sorcerer's Stone, the PlayStation 1 version was the good one. So I take a little trip to eBay, wait a few weeks, and I pop that sucker in my fat PS2.
EA Games.
Challenge everything.
Well, they kind of just skipped the Dursleys and Diagon Alley and went straight to the what am I looking at? Why do I even need to review this when I can just place clips from the game? This is fucking hilarious. Now, I don't want to just take a shit on this game's graphics for being dated. What do we actually have here gameplay-wise? To be honest, we've got some decent concepts being executed. We got some exploring. There's some less than stellar platforming, if I'm being frank. I do like the distance that Harry can clear, though. Aiming yourself anywhere, though, is kind of a nightmare. I think the game was initially built for directional buttons, so if my understanding is correct, you basically get 8 directions total that the game tries to finagle around. Ugh.
I will not have pupils late for my lesson. 5 points from Gryffindor.
You know what, Professor McGonagall? How about you Wingardium Leviosa out of here?
Go fetch the jar of fireflies from the adjoining room.
Did Snape just know that Harry was gonna be sneak attacked into the gutters? What the hell?
I've got some bad news, Harry. Norbert isn't doing too well. He's very sick. We need to make him some special dragon tonic to pep him up again.
Oh my god, his voice is so deep.
All right, Harry, I'll cast a spell on my beard and...
I'm off to the leaky cauldron for a few butterbeers if you need me. I'll meet you when you're all done.
Okay, so this review is very quickly devolving into a highlight reel of all the weird stuff, so let's indulge in that a little bit.
Harry, can you fetch me some fire seeds from a rare plant in the forest?
Oh man, we didn't throw him into the fire, literally. Good lord.
The password for the portrait is Wangerwort.
Trapped in a big scary castle, eh? Oh dear, I think Potter is going to cry. You're not leaving this castle until I have revenge.
There are some things in this game that are just funny because they didn't write the dialogue in a way that sounds, human.
Hi, Harry. Have you met Hermione yet? She's a real know-it-all and a teacher's pet.
No, I am not.
Hello, Harry. Charms class is about to start. Isn't it exciting?
She's rather annoying, isn't she?
How much is it?
It'll be $18.
Here you go. Keep the change. Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Similarly, they also reprise moments from the movie from time to time, but in a much sloppier way.
Okay, here's an example. The part with the troll, which, by the way, the chase was cool. It kind of felt like I was playing Crash Bandicoot or something. But remember how in the movie Ron pulls out a miracle floater spell to levitate the club and then coincidentally falls on the troll's head? Just listen to this.
Are you alright, Hermione? Harry, I'll try to charm the troll's club so it bashes him on the head. Use your knockback jinx to keep those toilets from hitting us.
That's awfully specific, Ron. How did you know that that was specifically the spell you had to do to beat him? Did you read the script? Oh hey, there's a script on the ground over there. Also, why did the club start out in the air? Quidditch in this game blows.
Here comes Potter!
I found myself just getting absolutely enraged by this garbage. Did they take pointers from Superman 64? Rings? Check. Overly sensitive and difficult to control? Check. I rest my case. Oh, and they give you the option to play Quidditch separate of the main game. That's cute. Like I'm gonna fucking do that. Overall, the game is actually pretty fun, to be honest. I would not go as far as to call it good, but there are some good ideas in here. That said, there's no getting around it. Case in point, this game is dated. It doesn't mean it's not worth playing if you're a diehard for PS1 era games, Harry Potter, or adventuring. If your fantasy is exploring the deep depths of Hogwarts, this version of Hogwarts isn't that deep. If you care about book accuracy or whatever, just stay away. I'll give it that it's fun, though. The only part that truly pissed me off was Quidditch. In 2020, it's innocent and... Oh, did I really write the script that long ago? Jesus Christ. Okay. In 2021, it's innocent enough. If you like the uncanny, if you like so bad it's good, and you want to have a little fun and a good laugh, this game is relatively harmless. On to Chamber of Secrets. In my quest to scratch that Harry Potter adventure itch, to run around a fully explorable Hogwarts that is as vast and mysterious as my imagination could conjure, we have EA's second crack of the bat in Chamber of Secrets.
That sorted it, Harry.
I'd love to see that in Aunt Petunia's kitchen.
Now, they actually do a lot of things right in this game, so let's start with that.
Having everything center around the staircase was a nice touch. I think having a list of tasks you can turn to in the Remember All so you don't get lost in the story fixes a huge what do I do problem that I had in the last game. I actually get to explore Diagon Alley in the beginning in a way that isn't super aggravating. The character models are so much better. Hagrid actually looks like goddamn Hagrid and not Nightmare Fuel. They have this system of collecting famous witches and wizards cards that I'm pretty fond of. Quidditch is vastly improved. I still have a few complaints, but they've been delegated to nitpicks at this point. In the PS1 version, the broomstick was a nightmare to control.
Potter is losing control!
In this game, it's actually pretty fluid for the most part. Well, you keep with the idea of flying through rings, but this time it behaves a little bit differently. If you fly through enough of them, you get a speed boost, where it's harder to control, but it brings you much closer to the snitch. My main complaint is that the path is so delegated to the direction the snitch is going, it's pretty much fixed. While this mostly makes for a positive experience so you don't lose the snitch in the first place, the path is so direct that it prohibits shortcuts sometimes. The snitch went down and back up, so a great logical strategy would probably be to skip some of the rings and go straight. You might actually, get there a little faster that way. But rather than rewarding you for thinking outside the box, it forces you to stay the path. If you try to go around a pillar, you get force knocked into it and lose time as a result. Also, the difficulty spike between the matches is absurd. Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff are kind of a cakewalk, and then Slytherin ends up being the most aggressive team on the planet. And oh my god, when they award Slytherin the House Cup, my child heart was broken. Okay, hold on.
Was really hard. Gryffindor wins!
My child heart was bursting with joy when I had outsmarted the game and used the reset button to my advantage until I got the result I wanted. You can actually intentionally lose points for Slytherin during the Polyjuice Potion section.
Someone round here.
Goyle, breaking the rules. 10 house points from Slytherin.
Oh, classic.
So Hogwarts is improved, the graphics are improved, Quidditch is improved, and the system they use to keep the story going is improved. So, what gives?
Unfortunately, this is where my praise for the game stops. Interestingly, there are some differences between the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox version. In the PS2 version, the Hogwarts grounds is fully explorable. Unfortunately, it seems they realized the map was kind of barren and in some ways broken. Oh, man. So they created a system where you walk in a direction and you're already there. While this technically creates a solution, a band-aid if you will, you know what would have been better? Finish the damn map and put some things in it. I also felt so teased as a kid, constantly thinking, why can't I go in here? What's in here? Good games have answers to these questions, and Harry Potter does have a few in the form of spells to unlock a couple areas in the library, open a few treasure chests, but as someone who's been playing Zelda for decades, this only made my itch itchier. Every time you get hit, you lose a ton of beans. Imagine if in Zelda you lost rupees every time you got hit. It pretty much delegates buying things to let's go fly through these rings in Hogwarts grounds after we're done with the tasks. They also give you some false currency in the form of sickles in Diagon Alley at the beginning, which subsequently disappears. I think they were on some kind of deadline because the story is shortened quite a bit. Different characters take over others' roles. Wait, didn't Lockhart join them when they went into the chambers? You know, honestly, he kind of just disappears after the wizard duel lesson. Oh, and Ron is always conveniently tired.
Anyway, I'm worn out. I'm off to bed. Well played, Harry. I suppose you're worn out after that. I am. I'm going to bed. That was exhausting, Harry. I'm off to bed. See you later. Anyway, I don't know about you, but I'm worn out just from cheering. I'm going to bed. All this talk of monsters is giving me the creeps. I'm off to bed.
Most of the days have a mission list that's honestly way too short. Each day, and eventually the game, is over before you know it.
And as for Harry, well, once again, he truly was the boy who lived.
The dungeons to collect spells feel more like a chore than enjoyable adventure dungeons. This is a wonderful base for what could be an incredible game, but it feels unpolished. Game developers seldom create great games ever based on movies in this era. It was always passable at best. The platforming in this game is downright frustrating. Whoever programmed these ghosts has a special place in Wizard Hell. They hit you often when you can't dodge them, so it's downright infuriating. The combat is also pretty frustrating. My main issue is how long Harry takes to recover while you're getting hit, sometimes giving the enemies a window to hit you again as soon as you're off the ground. It kind of resembles the feeling of being defenseless. You can't get in a fair fight because it's always like someone's holding you down. The game itself isn't difficult, but going through the Forbidden Forest in particular is quite frustrating when dealing with this issue. Okay, so they were almost there. They had some explorable secrets, they had the staircase, they had some collectibles. You were adventuring through Hogwarts. They were so close here. a few more years to let this potion cook a little longer, and it may have actually been a standout. Instead, it's acceptable, passable, decent.
Yeah, I'm fine.
So we only have one adventure game left in the series before they go off and start doing things that are kind of not interesting to me. So without further ado, here's Prisoner of Azkaban.
The opening actually seems pretty promising.
I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
They had a decent idea, having you play as Harry, Ron, and Hermione, working together to solve puzzles, splitting puzzle abilities, working together and splitting up for different dungeon sections, as well as a continuation of the exploration of Hogwarts, more akin to the aesthetic presented in the third movie. Unfortunately, though, Prisoner of Azkaban is even worse than Chamber of Secrets if you're looking for a good adventure game.
Can Ron not jump? Is he incapable? Oh boy.
I'll get some of the positives out of the way first. They still got cars hiding around. I'd say 2 of these dungeon sections are semi-passable. This one with the hookshot spell comes the closest to being good. And you have a fully explorable, completely unfinished model of Hogwarts grounds with nothing in it except when the game tells you to go somewhere. And here's my biggest problem with the game. The castle is fully explorable sometimes. It's sad there are far less secrets than in the Chamber of Secrets, and half the time they're blocked off. Almost every area of the castle gets hit at some point with the story anyway, so there's no point in really exploring because you're gonna fucking see the thing. Weirdly, there's a lot of times where you don't see students anywhere. It makes a game feel more like a game than ever before. Like, they completed the bare minimum here. The best part of the game are the sections where you have to complete dungeon-like areas, but like, most of the rooms are just areas to fight enemies. If you think Zelda's puzzles are easy, then Prisoner of Azkaban's puzzles are downright insulting. Easy at best, tedious at worst. Like, their idea of difficulty is just to make you do things over and over again. I think the points they spawn you back after you get killed are a really unfair distance from where you might get killed. And sometimes it has you redoing puzzles that you already did that actually take some time even though you have the answer in your brain. I love when the game has me go out of my way and just gives me every flavor beans. The collectible that's supposed to be cool is typically sitting out in the open. Did they forget how to video game or they sort of improved the character models, but their animations are still uncanny. They have hair made out of that shit you put in gerbil cages.
Hermione?
Oh, speaking of, Ron is downright annoying in this game.
Can we go back now? Please? I just want to go to bed. Can we go now? I just want to go to bed. Can we go?
The frame rate drops consistently. I have a feeling they were especially rushed on this one. There's no other excuse. The game isn't just unpolished, it feels unfinished. I played Harry Potter to explore Hogwarts, and instead this game feels like they were giving me busy work. Almost like the game is kind of sick of itself. Half the assets in the game are reused from Chamber of Secrets, which you think would make it easier to focus on other things, like, I don't know, not having half the castle be empty half the time? I think there was an intentional attempt to shift the focus from adventure to action. I have to ask though, is this really fun? There are some amusing logical quirks stemming from the lack of polish. When you go to Hagrid's class, for example, the other characters are in the scene, but it's just Hagrid in the game. This is not consistent throughout the game. Snape's class has all the students waiting around the class before the class starts. They skip a lot of story beats here. The story is kind of just the equivalent of someone like not reading the book, watching the movie, and then trying to explain what happened verbally in the movie in a couple of minutes. So in the third movie, Harry has this uncle figure, but he doesn't know it's his uncle yet. And he's like, they kind of think he's the bad guy for a while. And they go inside the Whomping Willow, and
Harry discovered that the black dog was in fact Sirius Black, and that Black had not been trying to murder him, but had in fact been hunting down Peter Pettigrew. The man that had truly betrayed Harry's parents to Lord Voldemort.
No! You can go to Azkaban.
And then they go back in time, and Harry helps his friend of the family escape. And he learns that the guy's like a father to him. He's not a bad guy. Don't judge people. Yay!
Now we reach the end of another eventful school year together. So, for their loyalty, courage, and their significant contributions to the school, it gives me great pleasure to award the House Cup to Gryffindor.
Well, they didn't care, so neither do I.
In fact, I care so little, I'm gonna shoot this on my iPhone in my pajamas. Well, reviewing has me all worn out, so I'm off to bed. See ya.